Hey guys, what's going on? So today I'm going to go through the next way in which you can break open your head to show what your current thoughts are. So what we're going to be learning is, as you see here, how to create this illusion of a cracked open skull. Pretty crazy. All we're going to do is we're going to take a picture of our face, we're going to find a picture from the internet, and blend the two together. So here we go. Now for your project, you'll need a picture of either yourself or of a friend, a family member, whoever it may be. I'm simply going to take my picture and drag that over the Photoshop icon. Next, I'm going to go to my Layers menu where it says Background and simply click on the little lock to unlock the layer. That simply frees the layer, allowing us to do whatever it is we'd like to do with it. Now, before we get into any of the fun stuff, we need to separate my face from the background and put that on a blank white layer. So, I'd like you to go down to your Layers menu where you see a piece of paper with a folded corner. I want you to click that little piece of paper. It says Create New Layer. Then we're going to fill layer 1, that new layer, with white. Go to Edit, Fill, click in the little bar next to Contents, and find white. Now click OK. You're probably wondering, oh my goodness, my face is gone. Well, it's not. All we have to do is change the order of our layers. So simply drag layer 1 below layer 0. All right, now we get to selecting. Click on layer 0 in the Layers menu. Then go all the way across to your Tools menu and click on the Quick Selection tool. With the Quick Selection tool, I'm going to then click the good old Select and Mask button. As you can see, this changes the opacity of the image. It's very thin, very foggy. As I paint or select my face, it will become more opaque. So with the Selection tool and the plus sign, I'm going to just paint around my face. And as you can see, I click and I hold and drag, and it begins to select certain areas of my face. So there we go. That looks pretty good. I have my face, that's opaque, everything in the background is blurred. A good way to check and see how good your selection is to go up to the top of the Properties menu. You'll see it says Transparency. The farther I drag this, the more I see what my image will look like on a white layer. So that looks pretty good. I have good edges. My hair is very defined. I'm going to go down and click Output to New Layer. That's going to send it onto a new layer. And then I'm going to click OK. And boom, there we go. My face is now separated from the background. It's by itself. Move it anywhere I want. So now I'm going to click on layer 0 and delete layer 0. We do not need that anymore. Now it's time to do the fun. Simply click on layer 0 because we'll need to come back to it. But now we're going to go out into the World Wide Web and find a picture of something that looks like a broken head. A good one to use is on Google. So go to Google Chrome, click on Images, and I want you to type in broken pot. As you see, we get a series of images that fill this screen. The best one to use is going to be the second, this guy. Good resolution, look at the size, it's 1000 by 856. You can use anything you want, but I think it makes life easier. I'm going to click View Image to get a big copy of the pot. And I'm actually going to now click, hold, and drag this pot over the Photoshop icon. What that does is it makes a new project tab. So if you look at the top, we'll have a new tab, and we have a tab for our project. So I'd like you to click on the Broken Pot tab, and just like we did with our face in the Layers menu, unlock the layer. All right. Now we need to do some selective work to get only this edge showing. So I'm going to actually very simply grab my eraser tool. So if you look in the tools menu, the eraser tool is the tool with the black and white squares and the little line. I'm going to then ensure or check to make sure my brush is a very hard brush. So I click on this little arrow and change the hardness. Now I'm simply going to erase everything that I don't want. So as you can see, I click and I hold, and that eraser just gets rid of everything. Now you have to be careful so that you don't accidentally erase something that you might need. So I'm going to get rid of all this junk on the outside first, most of this white, and then we'll get close to the edge. Alrighty. So there we go. So I've gotten a decent start on erasing some of this unnecessary spots. Now I'm going to zoom in and show you some things that we can do to get into some of these really close little areas. So just by zooming in, you really get a better idea of where those lines meet, where those black edges are, and so forth. So I want to try to get rid of as much of the black as I possibly can without hurting too much of the shape. I want to keep this corner nice and rounded. And then I want to get rid of as much of the white as I possibly can. This is a great tool for certain selections. It's great and it's useful, especially in this case. I'm going to go around, I'm going to get some of this black. Now a quick tip for getting into some of these real tight little black spots is we can decrease the size of the brush by using the bracket keys on your keyboard. So I'm going to hit the bracket key and shrink that brush a little bit to really clean up some of those unnecessary black spots. Again, up here, I'm going to get some of this. And voila. Get some of that. Keeping the jagged edges of the broken pot. A lot of people will do this with an egg or with a shattered brick. It's a great, cool little trick to make your head look very kind of broken apart. So there we go. I think this looks pretty good. We have very little black. All the white is gone. And now we just have that broken bowl. So now what I would like you to do is we're going to send this layer, layer 0, to our first tab. So I'm simply going to right click on layer 0 and see where it says duplicate layer. I'd like you to click that. Now here's a couple things. We can retitle our layer. And then we can choose the destination. Well, like I said, we want to send it to the first tab. So if I click Document, you'll see the name of our first tab, Haase JPEG, and there's Haase JPEG up at the top. So click Haase JPEG, click OK, and now check out your Haase JPEG layer. Oops, looks like I missed a spot. I'm just going to erase that, and boom. Now, if I click on my move tool, I can move this broken pot anywhere I'd like. But we want to make it look like it's really part of my head. So I'm going to go up to my top menu and click Show Transform Controls. This will bring up those little buttons that allow me to resize, and rotate. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this to a spot and re-shrink it so that it somewhat fits the contour of my head. Now you can distort it and make it any which way you want, as big as you want. I think something around there looks pretty good. So once you have it to the spot you'd like, simply hit return. Now it looks kind of weird, right? Because I have all of this hair behind that broken pot. We're going to basically erase it like we just erased the black of the pot. So click on layer 0 in your layers menu and go to your eraser tool. Now I'm going to make that brush nice and big by hitting my bracket keys and erase part of my head. Now the last thing that can be done is we can change the saturation or the color of that bowl. Obviously, it looks really, really orange. To do that, click on Broken Pot, click on Image at the top, scroll down to Adjustments, and go to Hue and Saturation. Simply by lowering the saturation, you get a color that is a little more realistic. Once you have that, click OK, and you are good to go. You can resize, rechange, and really do anything you want from that point forward. And there you have it. Now you have an awesome area in which you can have different objects popping out of that head and creating this idea of your current thoughts. So thank you for watching and checking this out. Again, make sure you go back if you ever get to a point where you get lost. Thanks, guys. Can't wait to see your work.